This is the Church of St Mary, and it's in the village of Gedding, just outside Bury St Edmunds. I think we'll have a look at it just before these rain clouds up here attack us. So the church is on a little lane. It's got a little car park, some gates to it. Oh, a lovely entrance. St Mary's, Gedding. There's some water over there. Not sure what that is. This is unusual. Remains of a tree that looks very artistic. Some fairly contemporary and new headstones. A very grand one here. We must look at this. In loving memory of John Gibson Jarvie of Gedding Hall, who died the 29th December 1964, aged 81 years. Lord of the Manors of Hawley and Gedding, High Sheriff of Suffolk 1951, and of his wife, not sure what her name would be, Mary Patricia, who died the 1st of June 1965, aged 78 years. So she outlived him by 1 year. And they're now buried in this churchyard here. And all the graves are lined up, facing in on the path. What have we got here? In loving memory of Arthur Cecil Wakeley, who died the 26th of May 1976, aged 75 years. And also his wife, I assume, Winifred Mary, who died on the 27th of October 2001, 98 years. She outlived him for a few years. This churchyard is unusual in as much that all these headstones are facing inwards. You see here again where people have had sort of monuments or little areas on the ground. They don't get cut so easy, so they get overgrown. Wow, that's an impressive little church. What a lovely scene. Got the yellow of the fields, spring Suffolk fields. Even the dramatic clouds drifting overhead, actually about to pour rain upon us. On the top of the tower, the top section is rebuilt in brick. I suspect that the top, for some reason, was damaged or was lost or whatever, and been replaced with that little stubby top. But then the flint here looks different to that anyway, so it's difficult to know without some real knowledge as to what the history of this church is. But it's very, very impressive and picturesque. Oh. It looks old and altered. It's very dark in here. We've got obviously some bells still. The bell pulls are there, and a hatch through the wooden ceiling to get into the section where the bells are. Got a wooden ceiling here. extremely worn floor, which is made of brick, and then red tiles, sort of quarry tiles, where the walkways are. These pews look extremely old, very small and very old and worn. These ones, they're very old, very primitive. Look at that. But these here are new, 20th century, no doubt. So we've just got a few old ones at the back. Lovely little side window there. Little leaded light really that's been let into that arch. And this one is really not lovely, with a yellow tint to it and the light coming through. And the flower arrangement. Then we enter into this area, which is lighter actually, but not many pews. So just a few important people that sat here. This window looks as if it's had damage and everything at some time. You've got a little bit of red border, and but the top there looks as if it's been replaced. Now the stained glass window is impressive. Two side areas are tinted glass with leads and red border. In the middle is stained glass with a picture. And the stonework is very intricate. A lovely shape. In fact, it seems grander than the rest of the church. And this window is the same, quite grand stonework. We've got tiles on the floor, a nice pattern, and a carpety cloth edging there. Candle holder. We've got a side door and a little window. There's two ornate arches there. I mean, they don't seem to be in keeping with the rest of the church, which seems very country and sort of simple, and they're quite ornate. And that window is lovely, that's got the yellow tint. Gives a nice ambience of light to the church. But there are a few lights with only one window on that side, so the church is fairly dark. A large font, which looks like the remains of a smaller one, perhaps. And this has got coat of arms on it. The churchyard has had its grass cut fairly recently. There's a little door at the side. And the back of the churchyard is a bee there, a bumblebee. The back of the churchyard is left for wildlife. This headstone looks as if had been painted at one time, or covered with something that's very powdery. Obviously these windows, well, they seem to me they were added on at a later period. Possibly 18th century. I wouldn't have thought that this ornate stonework was there originally, but there's obviously some history with this church, with the tower. And when we came across one where the tower was affected by an earthquake or a tremor here in this area, and it had to be taken down, maybe that affected this one as well. The decoration at the side. Here is a netted door, which obviously fitted in, possibly the front door. You see where the stone ends, the flint ends, and the brick begins. This looks like a family group. But it looks like a family group where we've got presumably the husband, is slightly bigger maybe, and the wife, and a child. I mean, a whole story here, but we don't know it. Like all these churchyards, if we knew the story of these graves and these people's lives, we could write a book on it. I can say about it really, a charming country church in Suffolk, set as you can see in Suffolk farmland, surrounded by trees and with a pleasant churchyard. Birds are singing. It has got a village around it. There are houses. But just delightful. And a scene that, as we look at it here, that probably hasn't changed much for the last 100 years or so. And I guess that the villagers 100 years ago would be coming to this church and finding a scene not a lot different to what we're looking at now. Delightful.